Yo. Welcome to Sorta Casual Games YouTube channel. My name is Jay, aka MrGhostProtocol, and this is going to be my Days Gone review. I know it might seem late, but basically I wanted to play this game in its whole entirety from beginning to end. I don't want to be one of these reviewers that when you play it for a few hours or halfway through and think that they can drop a review and stuff. I don't think that's fair. I don't think you can drop a proper review unless you've played the game from beginning to end. So that is what I've done. I've made quite a few notes as I was playing it, and when I finished playing it, just so that I could give you a better understanding of what I was thinking and feeling as I was playing the game, and when I finished playing the game as well. Also, I can't promise that this review is going to be spoiler free. There might be spoilers, there might not be spoilers. When I talk sometimes, and I'll be going through my notes. I can't guarantee that it's not going to be spoilers. But just like I can't guarantee that there is going to be spoilers. So if you're going to listen to this or watch this, then do at your own risk, okay? But one thing I can say, that you will get a very honest and real casual review, okay? Anyway, so basically I'm going to be breaking down this review into segments. I'm basically going to be going through my notes and just elaborating on things and emphasizing on the notes that I've made and stuff like that. And when we get to the end, I'm basically going to drop the score with a recommendation as well, and that will be the review done. So anyway, so let's start this off anyway. So concept and story. So for those out there that are not aware, that don't have the game, thinking about getting the game, basically Days Gone is a action adventure survival horror game. It's developed by Ben Studio. For those that might not have never heard of them, they also developed Uncharted Golden Abyss on the Vita. So if you've played that, then that was them. It's the same people. Basically, if you're into games like The Last of Us, Uncharted, Tomb Raider, Horizon Zero Dawn, films like World War Z, should I say, TV shows like Sons of Anarchy, The Walking Dead, then this is the game for you, because it has all of these things, all of these elements from these different genres and stuff in this game. So if you're into all them type of shows, games and films, then this is the game for you. So Days Gone is basically a post-apocalyptic game set 2 years after a global epidemic. The main character is a former outlaw turned drifter. His name's called Deacon St. John's. Basically the game kind of centers around just basically surviving in a world that's changed, and coming across the possibility that his wife might be still alive. So therefore you go on a quest to try and find her, to try and find if she's still alive. Days Gone is a first person action game, basically in which you get to play in a open world environment. You get to use firearms, melee weapons. You get to improvise with weapons and level up with weapons. You get to use stealth, defend against hostile humans and cannibalistic creatures like the Freakers, aka zombies, or whatever you want to call them, walkers. Basically similar but a little bit different, I suppose. And personally, I would say a major game mechanic is Deacon's drifter's bike, which can be used as the player's main primary mode of transportation and mobile infantry as well. Almost like a character. I got the feel that the bike was almost like its own character, And graphic and animation, the good points, the notes that I put down here. It runs at 30 frames per second, at a steady 30 frames per second. Yes, it sometimes had its little glitches and stuff like that, but the majority of the time it basically kept at 30 frames per second. It would be nice if it would have been 60 frames per second, but I felt like at the time that it was running at 30 frames per second, and the majority of the time it was running quite quite smoothly and steadily. They used Unreal Engine 4, which was quite surprising, because normally I kind of associate the Unreal Engine with games like fighting games or first-person shooters, not really with action adventure open world kind of games and stuff. I don't know, like I haven't really played or come across any that I know that uses the Unreal Engine 4. So I thought that was quite a cool fact that they managed to use the engine for that. But I do know the engine's quite diverse as well. So yeah, graphically the game looks amazing. All the character models, the world, the trees, the cars, like everything looks really good. The details, it just looks really, really good. Even when you're riding the bike and the animation, the animations look really good. I don't really have any complaints when it comes to the way the game looked and felt per se. If I had to pick a highlight in terms of the graphics and animation, I would say probably the weather dynamics. I think the weather dynamics are probably one of the best I've seen in a game up to date. Like when it rains, it really looks and feels like it's raining. When the sunset comes up and stuff, it's just stunning. You get like so many different types of rain, weather dynamics, winds. It's just a really, really clever and amazing looking game in general. I would also say in terms of the bullet damage and the damage that enemies take and stuff like that. That looks really good. Very, very graphic as well. Very detailed. So they're basically the good points that I wrote down as I was going through this game. The bad points, I would say that it had a few frame drops, as I mentioned before, but it was weird. It never happened when I was fighting the Horde. Like the Horde is basically, you get hundreds and hundreds of freakers that gather together, and they run and they go crazy and stuff like that, and you basically got to defend yourself against them, which is probably one of the best aspects of this game. So I kind of expected to be getting frame drops and stuff like that, and screen tears like during the Horde, but I never did. But it was weird. When I would be riding the bike, sometimes I would get frame drops then, or sometimes I get screen tears, and it was just like really weird. I don't know. I found that a little bit weird, so I'll probably say that's probably one of the bad points I had in terms of the graphics and animations. And I would probably say that another annoying thing about the graphics and animation is that all this is, well, not all of it, but the majority of this is probably before the first update. So when you buy the game, you get like a day one update, but Ben Studio released quite a few updates after that. So a lot of this was before and during and after. So there were times when you would get like screen tears, you would get texture loading and popping. So as I'm say I'm riding on a bike, you would see certain vehicles and cars that are not even textured, they're like all blocky and stuff, and they wouldn't have like rendered in. Or there'd be other times when I'd be like riding my bike, and as I'm riding, you'll see things popping in, like quite close to you. So that wasn't really a good thing. But after the updates, I don't really see that too much. So I'm assuming that the updates, fix that. But yeah, that's probably one of the other bad points. In terms of sound and music, now for those that don't know, I bought the collector's edition, so it came with the soundtrack. So I actually got a really good opportunity to listen to the soundtrack before I actually played the game, and the soundtrack is actually really good. It's composed by a composer by Nathan Whitehead. He did a really good job. I would say that one of the good points I would say is probably in terms of like the sound of the music and stuff. It's probably a mix between Sons of Anarchy, like a biker kind of feel, with like a Last of Us kind of post-apocalyptic feel, trying to survive on your own kind of sound, and that's like a best way to like describe it. And I thought he did a really, really good job. You know, like there'll be times when you be you know, during the story, when certain things happen, and like you get certain, like, you know, like certain songs that come, and it just complements that scene, it just enhances that scene. It kind of helps to flesh out the game, and helps with the immersion as well. So I actually really enjoyed the music. You know, so yeah, so the music sounded really, really immersive, and yeah, it just, you know, and like another thing I liked as well was that like the sound effects in this game, you know, like when you're riding your bike, it sounds like a proper chopper, because the bike you have it's like a chopper. It sounds like a proper chopper. Like, I mean, I spoke about the weather. I mean, like the weather and stuff like that. And I mean, like high dynamic that is. I mean, like the weather sound, like when it rains, and the wind and the hailstones and stuff, and it's just like really, really top tier. Even when you're fighting enemies and you're fighting like freakers or normal humans or whatever, just like the sound of the gun, the bullet, I mean, like the bullet crunching and stuff, I mean, like things exploding, it just sounds like this game sounds really good, you know. So like you can clearly hear that they put a lot of work in, I mean, in the sound effects and the music as well. So the composer and whoever did the sound effects done a really amazing job. The only one bad point that I would say in terms of like sound and music is gotta be is that before the first update, that the voice audio was very out of sync with with the characters. So you'd be talking, and the mouth and lips would be moving, but there'd be no words coming out. Then after like the facial animation's done, then you would hear, like, you know, what the character was saying. That was really annoying, but they patched that within the first patch. You know, so that was one of the bad points. But that was as I was playing the game. Playability. I would say the good points in terms of playability is that you know, I felt like you get your money's worth. Like, this is a big game. A lot of people said that this game was like really, really bigger than a lot of open world games. I didn't, and I still don't feel like it's bigger than certain other games like Horizon Zero Dawn. I feel like it's probably the same size, like including the Frozen Wildlands of Horizon Zero Dawn. I would say that this game is the same size. I think what makes the game seem bigger is how long this game is, but you definitely get your money's worth. You know, there's a lot to do in this game. The game is very big, very expansive. So, you know what I mean? Like, for me, I think that's a really good point, especially in a time when when we get a lot of developers who tend to like make unfinished games and tend to want to you know, patch them later on, or fix them later on, or sell us back the content in DLC and stuff like that. So that's definitely one of the major good points about this game. So the fact that I was able to spend hours playing this game at a time is a testament to the playability and how good that I think that this game was at the time and still is. The game was really, to be honest with you, the game was like really fun. I had a really good time playing this game. The only thing I will say about this game is that you can kind of tell that they've like in terms of like mechanics and stuff, you can kind of tell that like they're like a jack of, was it like a jack of all trades but not a master of none, almost, kind of. It's like they borrowed a lot from like games like The Last of Us, Uncharted, Tomb Raider, Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, I mean, like they've taken like a lot of their features, like a lot of their mechanics into this game, but they don't particularly improve on them. They don't make them their own. They just basically like, you know, like do them at a very average level, should I say. It's not bad, it's not good. You know what I mean? Like, well, it's good, but it's not bad, but it's not amazing, should I say. It's not it's not innovative. You know what I mean? Like, it's not them taken to another level, should I say. So like this game has a lot of familiarity. You know, if you played other games like that, the game kind of feels very familiar, which is a good thing as well. I would also say that another good thing is that the fact that you get to like come across a lot of different enemies and stuff. You know, you get to fight against like freakers, the horde that you get to fight, you know, like majorly at the latter end of the game and stuff. When you're more equipped to fight them, you fight you know, marauders, different humans. There's actually like a different faction called what are they called? Are they called the Jack? I can't remember, but they basically like worship the freakers, and they scar up their face. They look, I mean, they look fucking crazy and stuff. So you get like so you get quite a diverse you know, bunch of enemies. Not even talking about like coming across the wolves, the bears and stuff. I think you also come across, you come across like birds and birds as well, but infected birds, infected bears, infected wolves. I think it's like you come across like a what are they called? Not panther. I can't remember, but you come across like a cat-like animal. I can't remember what they're called now. So like, so you come across quite a diverse bunch of enemies and stuff like that. You know, you do a lot of crafting in this game, which is quite good as well. And yeah, you know what I mean? I just think in terms of playability, this game has a lot. It has a lot, you know, a lot to keep you very interested, and a lot to keep you want to coming back and playing the game again and again. So I think that's good. I would say the bad points is as I mentioned before the free patches and updates and stuff, it had quite a lot of bugs and glitches, and even after I finished the game, it still had quite a few. Not as much as it did, but it still had quite a few. So and I found it a little bit annoying, because I felt like the studio, they've had more than enough time to iron these things out, and I can clearly see why they kept on pushing this game back and stuff. Obviously the studio is not very big, but even though it's not very big, I still feel like they've had more than enough time to iron a lot of these bugs and glitches out, and I suppose that's why there was such a big update when you bought the game. But even after the day one update, there was still quite a few bugs and glitches, hence why there were 3 more patches and stuff. So I mean, I felt like they could have probably like the game probably could have had a bit more time, you know, like they could have spent a bit more time working on the game before they released it. But yeah, I would also say that one of the things that I found really annoying is that every time you went into a cutscene, it would load in and out. So basically, it would go black, load into the cutscene, then go black and load out the cutscene. And I just felt like that was really annoying. It kind of broke immersion for me, and it felt really dated as well. Like, I don't really expect to see AAA games like that, you know, that are loaded in and out of cutscenes. So I don't know why they chose to do it like that. I don't know if it was a restriction from the was it from the operating system that they were using? Was it? I have no idea, or the engine, should I say, the engine that they were using. But that really kind of like took me out of the game, and I felt that was quite annoying as well. There was another thing as well, is that when you're in the cutscenes, you would control Deacon, like the main character. So it'd be like a flashback of when he's with his wife and stuff, Sarah, and they might be talking. And the thing that I found really annoying is that they're meant to be talking to each other and whatever, but they're very rarely walking next to each other. So no matter what you do, it's like you can never be walking next to the person that you're talking to, the character that you're talking to. Is like you're always like behind, and it just didn't seem like very realistic at the fact that you'd be having a conversation, but you'd always be like five, 6 steps behind of them, just talking in like most of the cutscenes. So that kind of took me out of it as well. And so I don't know. I think that Ben Studio might want to look at that and probably do an update for that to make it a bit more realistic and stuff, because it's like you're actually controlling the character, so it's like in-game cutscenes kind of things. So yeah, that was quite annoying. And nothing I didn't like as well that I felt was a bit annoying was that I wasn't very impressed with the camp. So basically in this game you come across different camps, like campsites and stuff, different groups and stuff like that, and you can basically you can level up your bike there, you can get weapons, when you're hunting you can bring your food there, the meat, and you can trade it, and like, everything you can do you can trade in for like money, like different currency. But the thing that's really annoying is that all these different campsites, especially in the area of Oregon, because that's where the game is set, is basically like they deal with different currency, and it's really annoying because it's like it takes forever to level up, to upgrade your weapons, to upgrade your bike, and so forth and so on. So I thought that was a little bit annoying, a little bit dated. It felt a bit dated as well. They could have probably streamlined it, because especially that the game is quite big and you do a lot, apart from the main story, you do a lot of side quests and missions and stuff like that. I just felt like they probably could have streamlined it and made it a bit more accessible in terms of the way you play and progress in this game. But so I would say they're probably the bad things about it. In terms of entertainment, I would say the good points is that, as I said before, in a time of where developers are making a lot of unfinished games, with really poor narratives, no character development, no plot development and stuff like that, like no arcs and threads and stuff in terms of the story and stuff. This game has that, and it has that in abundance. Whether you think it's good or not is down to the individual that plays it. That plays this game. But me personally, I thought it was quite good, and it's quite refreshing at the fact that Sony are actually releasing quite a lot of games, like just standalone games, like full games. And I wasn't very sure what I was going to get from this experience. So so like in terms of entertainment, I was quite happy at the fact that they did that, because it adds to the entertainment. The game was very fun and enjoyable. As I said before, I enjoyed fighting the Horde. The story, in terms of the story and the narrative, it started off being really good and very intriguing and stuff. Then after a while it started to become a little bit predictable, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I kind of felt like they could have probably left certain things to the latter end of the game and stuff, to give us more of more surprises and stuff, and more meaningful surprises and stuff. I really love the main character, basically I think the main character is really different, really refreshing. You might hear some reviews or some people say that he's another white male, whatever. To be honest with you, I don't care what colour the character is, as long as the game's good, the story's good, and I get to use a really sick character, then I'm good with it. I'm not interested in the fact of whether the character's white or black or whatever. Yes, it'd be nice to have a bit more representation, a bit more diversity, natural diversity, not with new IPs, and stuff like that. But in terms of this, in terms of the main character, Deacon St. John's, I thought it was cool because I love stuff like Sons of Anarchy, Walking Dead, and certain types of games and stuff. And to get a character like him, where where he's from a biker gang, part of the MC, him and his friend are like the last last survivors of the of the MC and stuff. And you basically a drifter, just drifting around on your bike in this big, open, expansive world. I really enjoyed that, just to get from that different, that different kind of aspect. We've had the narrative and the story of a family man that loses everything and does what he does to survive and stuff, and we've got different aspects of this post-apocalyptic character archetypes in these kind of genres and stuff, and to get one that's like a hardcore biker that still keeps that identity of being a biker but in this world, I thought it was very refreshing and really cool. So I like that, and I found that very entertaining. I loved the bike. I thought the bike was his own character, almost like a partner, like if you had a horse, you kind of build that relationship, that trustworthy steed, that trustworthy horse, your companion. And that's what I felt the bike was. The bike was your partner, your friend, your companion. When you upgraded and you leveled up, your bike did too. You just did that, and I felt like this game was very, very entertainment. It's got a lot, and I think that's got a lot for a lot of people that likes the above and beyond. So I would say the bad points in terms of the entertainment is that I did think that the game and the story felt a little too long. I kind of touched on it before when I said that how a lot of people were saying that this game is really, really big, and this game is a big game, but I don't think it's any bigger than a game like Horizon Zero Dawn. But as I said before, I think the reason why this game felt quite big is because the story felt really long, and there was times where it seemed like the story was going to end, but the story didn't end and it kind of continued and stuff. So I did feel like the story was a bit too long. I felt like they could have shaved like at least a quarter of the story down. They could have streamlined it, made it a bit more compact, made it flow a bit more. But it wasn't necessarily like like an immersion breaking thing, or like it was like a thing where it's like, I can't play this game, it's just annoying, the story's garbage and it's long. Like the story, the story and the concept and premise was actually quite good, and I think with all the other things like the playability and the things that you were doing in the world, I think that's what kept it, kept you interested. So but it did feel a bit long. Another thing as well is that after I actually finished the game, I actually felt like I wanted to take a very long break from this game. Like it's literally like when it's like I really felt really mentally and forgive me, I really felt mentally drained and mentally tired playing this game, because the game just felt too long for me, and it had me thinking that would I want to play more of this game, and it made me think about would I go back and play this game, and I probably would, but I would need a very, very, very long break before I go back and play this game. But there are times in this game when it felt a little repetitive at points, but it still had a lot to keep me interested. I don't know, it sounds a bit was it a bit of a contradiction, but I don't know, like there's certain points, there's certain bits of the game that feel quite repetitive, and I suppose that there are points in the game where they do things to kind of refresh it, but it does end up feeling still a little bit, a little bit repetitive. But because there's so much to do in this game, you don't necessarily, it doesn't weigh you down, because you can just go do other things and stuff like that. Other than you being on this main story thread, like the main path of the story and stuff, you can do other things and stuff, and the repetitiveness wasn't really so much in terms of the main narrative. It was more of the side quests and side missions and stuff that you can do. It was them that felt a bit repetitive, where you would go to like a neuro campsite. So it's basically after the outbreak and stuff, there were certain campsites where they were trying to cure people, and like refugee camps sort of and stuff like that, and there's points in the game that like where you go to them, and it's basically the same type of thing. You've got to go there, you've got to cut the speakers and stuff, you've got to find some petrol, put in the generator, turn generator on to give power to the campsite, so you can get into the units and stuff where you can get extra like upgrade injection to get to get extra stamina, extra health, extra focus and stuff like that. And it was that felt like kind of a bit repetitive. But they kind of broke up a little bit, because there'd be some of them where there'd be like a lot of freakers and stuff, so you had to make sure that you cut all the speakers, and there'd be other speakers that would be hidden that you won't find, and you think you cut all of them, and when you turn generator on, the sound would turn on, then the freakers will come because they're attracted to sound and stuff, and you have to deal with them. So, but it did feel repetitive, just in terms of the fact that you just had to keep on doing the same thing kind of thing, but just a little bit harder, and also there were other points as well where you come across a certain neuro character where you've got to do a bit of spying and listening to, and that got really repetitive as well. And it kind of felt a bit annoying, because if you got caught, then you had to just start again. And I don't know, like, it just felt a bit annoying and a bit repetitive. But again, as I said, there was other things that kept me interested, so it wasn't that bad. But that was one of the niggling points that kind of was like, oh, this is a bit annoying. So in terms of like replayability, the good points in terms of replayability, would I give this another play? Yes, I would. As I said before, when I played it, I felt really mentally drained and tired, because I felt the game was just too long. To be honest with you, I think that give it like a year or so after I've kind of forgotten like the story narrative and stuff, then I will definitely go back and play this game, just like I'll go back and play, or just like I have gone back and played a lot of the games that I've played and still have. The only time that I would actually just continue to play this game if they released a DLC, which I think they're going to. So the moment the DLC comes out, I'm definitely going to go back and play the DLC and stuff. So for me, that's a good thing, because if they drop DLC and it can elaborate more, and I mean like give us more in depth in terms of the lore and story and other things and whatever, then I would definitely do it straight away. So I don't know, maybe it sounds sound like a bit of a contradiction, the fact that I felt so drained and tired after I finished playing the game that I just need a long ass break, that like I would go back and play it tomorrow if the DLC came out tomorrow. So but saying that though, was it today? There was last night there was like a 12 to 15 gig update. So I'm not sure if that's DLC or if that is a big major update patch or whatever it is. So I'll have to check that out later. But yes, if they drop a DLC today, tomorrow, whenever, I will play it as soon as it comes out. So I suppose that's just a testament of how much I actually enjoyed the game. The bad points in terms of replayability is that I would think that the glitches and bugs do hinder this game quite a bit, or should I say it did hinder the game quite a bit at one point. After the 3 patches, not so much, but it still did. As I said before, it was kind of a little bit of immersion breaking, but this game still had a lot. But I just think that like this game would have been a much better experience if they would have had a bit more time to iron out the bugs and glitches and just deal with that shit, man. Because there's a really good game in there, but I do feel like if they don't really fix all these bugs, like if I went back and played it like in 6 months and a lot of these bugs and glitches are still there, then I might be like reluctant to actually play the game all the way through. I might just go in there and just like mess around and just run around the world and stuff and have fun. But in terms of like playing the game, like the story from beginning to end, I might be turned off by doing that if these bugs and glitches are still there. So so that's really like the only bad point I can really think of in terms of replayability. But yeah, as I said before, I will definitely replay this game after a bit of time, and if there's DLC, I'll play it ASAP, and I just hope and pray that they just iron out all the bugs and glitches, because if I play it again and it's still there, then I might be a bit annoyed. Anyhow, so we are at the point of where I need to give you a final score. To be honest with you, like I've really enjoyed this game. I've really tried to like not listen to what other people have said. I've tried to not really listen to a lot of reviews. I'm really embarrassed for a lot of bigger outlets that have been giving it really poor reviews. Like I touched on at the beginning of this review, that I feel like you can't review a game without playing the game in its whole entirety. I know a lot of reviewers don't finish games before they review them, and I don't agree with that, and I think that's very poor form. I'm also aware to the fact that some of these reviewers are getting early copies, so we're talking about like probably before the day one update, maybe, or maybe before the definitely before the free patches and stuff like that. So your experience of the game then, was it like your experience and your review will be hindered by the game you played at that time, and which is another reason why I kind of feel like another reason why I feel like everybody should be put on the same level playing field in terms of reviewing games. The game should come out at the same time. It should be accessible to everybody at the same time, so everyone gets a fair shake to review games and give an opinion. At least that way everyone's reviewing the game at the same standpoint, because this review is me after finishing the game. There's been how many updates? Some of these early reviewers have reviewed the game when there wasn't any of these patches, or before the day one update. So but even with all the glitches and stuff like that, like there's a lot in this game. This game's got a lot to offer, and I just feel like you got to be unless you're not into these types of games, which is fair enough, then cool. But in terms of a game or reviewing a game, I really like this game. I really enjoyed this game. I hope and pray that it does the numbers that it needs to do in the end, so that we can get the potential to get a second game. I would love to see Ben Studio make a second game, and so basically, I have to give this game, a cool 8 out of 10, a definite cool 8 out of 10. I was playing with a 7.5, but I think I think this game is worthy of a 8 out of 10. I would give this game a recommendation of buying it and keeping it. So I definitely recommend that if you haven't purchased this game, you don't have this game, definitely go and buy it. Hopefully a lot of the bugs and glitches that are still in the game after I finished it have been ironed out and not there, which means that you will get a better experience than what I got. But this game has got a lot, and Ben Studio did a really good job. And I just hope and pray we get to see them try again with a part 2, because this game definitely deserves it. So that's my review basically. My throat's a bit sore, as you probably can tell. Been coughing a little bit. I apologise for that if you've been listening. That's my review of Days Gone. I hope you enjoyed it. I try to give my honest opinions and my views. And that's it. So for those out there, please hit us up on the socials. We're on. You can find us here on YouTube, SoundCloud. You check us out on SoundCloud. We've got a weekly podcast that comes out on SoundCloud, so check us out on SoundCloud and YouTube. We're on the socials, Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. And please like and subscribe. Drop some comments down below. I love to hear from you if you've played this game, what you think, if you agree with my opinions or not. That's what it's about. It's about debating. And if you haven't played this game and there's any other questions that you'd like to ask me that I haven't put in this review, then please feel free to drop some comments down below. I will get to you and answer your questions and your comments. And please hit that bell notification so you can get the updates of our weekly podcast, or any reviews, just any content that we do. So please hit that bell notification, be much appreciated. And that's it. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and my name is Jay, aka Mr. Ghost Protocol, and I'm signing out.